Exactly. You will read books, some of the books which I feel are good to read, but do us an injustice if you're not equipped. Super intellectual discourse. Super. This is a lady who praises Islam and is an Islamic apologist. I praise you, you like me. I tell you this about, and I told my children this many times. We are incorruptible if you are correct principles. I tell you what can corrupt you. Not $1,000 million. A lot of praise. So when someone praises you a bit too much, be cautious. They're using corruption and they're buying me at my weak point. It's not money that's going to buy me here. It's my ego that's opening this Trojan horse door for them to get in. No joke. This is like when you work as a doctor, you'll be surprised. Yeah? Can't buy me with money. I don't need your money. But something you're the best now. All the rest didn't get me better. You got me better. You look so young. Closer to 40 than 50. Be wary that corruption is not just in the form of money. I'm not asking you to be a cynic, yeah? Just asking you to be wary. Understand, like, in the same way that when you read with evidence-based. Understand the prejudice of people who write the papers, which company you have to declare prejudice or hidden agendas, if you like. And that's what you have to do when you write medical papers. The same thing should be done when you write on intellectual things. Exactly. Our dear Muhammad here talked about how the Prophet started here and eventually had Islam spread here. So the rest of the men from here, I had to take it from 2 pages to the good offices of my wife, my daughter early in the morning. And this is the bit that really annoys me. No one talks about this bit in Spain and Portugal because it's been wiped out of history. Only the buildings remain. Next slide, please. But in fact, Cordoba, Valencia, Andalus, with all the spread of human interaction, knowledge and business from 700 to something like 1200 something, 500 years, was Renaissance. But history is written by the victor. Hang your head in shame, all Muslims, because you can't even write history. That's how weak we are. So I'm talking about current issues, past issues, ongoing issues, things that are always going to be relevant for as long as man decides to have an interaction with faith and live in this world. We can look at it from an individual point of view. What is our, how do I dress? Do I reveal my knees? Do I show my cleavage? Not Mila, but these are things and issues that people have to know the evidence for. Do I consume alcohol? What does it say? What does the full context of it say? Where do women stand in Islam? What is polygamy? I have to get it off my chest. Marry 1, 2, 3 or 4. But one is best. Treat all of them equal. It is not possible for you to treat all of them equal. But this is from the Quran. So what is polygamy today? Me, man, going around marrying all those widows because the husband died in the war? What war? We're not in Iraq. We've got no gathered storm, gathered sheep. This is mere chauvinist controlling an interpretation of God's word for abuse. And nobody bans enough. Yellow card or red card? 10 minutes, coming to the end. I think only 1/4 way through. So, we've got to understand the issues related to how it stands, how it relates, what's the evidence before we actually say it. And the same thing in politics and statehood. I was brought up that politics and religion should be separate. Well, I tell you the historical perspective was after Galileo, and as the church caused problems with science advancement, and around that period, it was decided that in the interest of man, circular man, religion be out of politics. And then because we brought up with that philosophy of English knowledge, we are taught that it's principle that religion and politics don't mix. Bullshit. The mosque is a place of scapegoat. It is a place of morals, rights, social justice, social awareness, not extremism. So unfortunately, we close the door for ourselves because of Hizbullah in the Quran being good, but translated to work and bad. So we've got ongoing issues that we've got to address, and we've got to equip ourselves to address them. Next slide, please. All of us quote this. La ikraha fi din. There is no compulsion in religion. Verily the right path has become distinct from the wrong path. Whoever disbelieves in Taghut and believes in Allah, then he has grasped the most trustworthy handhold. If you trust that this is the religion for you, profess your God in the one God, profess your faith in the one God and His Prophet and the books, then imagine it's a handhold on life down a slippery slope, and that you're unlikely to fall off. Next slide, please. That was backwards. Now we've got medical issues to address, and not uncommonly you work in Malaysia or you work in a community where you're a Muslim doctor, they'll ask you about these three interrelated things. Organ transplant, brain death, euthanasia. You've got to know. And you cannot make these distinctions and rules based on your perception and your medical knowledge. It's got to be based on factual knowledge of what Quranic verses state and Sahih hadith state. It's got to be factual. Where is the role of botulinum toxin, therapeutics and cosmetic? How do we use porcine products? And many little things, like when you're fasting, we put ear drops, nose drops. When I'm going for the heart, and if I've got menses, what do I do? You've got to equip yourself to fulfill this role. Many go for vaccination for heart and pilgrimage. Exactly. The last few slides, I want to show you a few excerpts from the Quran, because it tells us about things that we don't really pay attention to most of the time. We think that Quran is sword, cut hand, steel cut hand, stone people to death, anybody criticize the Prophet dead. But Quran talks about no arrogance, discuss with gentle tones, be patient, be fair, be loving, be accountable, enjoy worldly rewards, be careful of distractions, and define success not in this world alone. And as you build up your knowledge, it's about righteous conduct, but don't be self-righteous. It's very difficult. As you get more and more knowledge, to not be self-righteous is sometimes very difficult. Next slide. So again, I put this from two different versions of the Quranic translation, but you notice the Arabic is exactly the same. Hence our insistence that no matter how you put the translation, you must have the Arabic there. Otherwise things get changed over 100 years and it will not be the Quran again. Yeah? O mankind, there has come to you a direction from your Lord. This direction is the Quran, and a healing for the diseases in your heart, and for those who believe, the guidance and mercy. So this to me, if I have faith, is why I will use the Quran as my guiding principle. Because I believe that this is the treatment for illness. Spiritual life. Next slide. This is important concept, right? And righteousness or al-bir is not about a symbolic action, whether you turn your head to the right or to the left, to the east or to the west. But it's about all the beliefs we talked about, God, the last day, the angels, the book, the prophets. And look at this. You give your wealth in spite of love for it. You do not achieve piety unless you give from what you love. To the kinsfolk, to orphans, to the wayfarer, and to those who ask. Free the slave. Slavery as allowed in Islam, find out. You pray. You give your dues. And when you give your word, you fulfill it. I say I'll be there at 7:40 in the morning. I'm there at 7:40. No joke. It's 7:35, so I will do for later. And who are patient in extreme poverty and ailment. Patient means sabar, patient perseverance.